Was it on me again?
I just have a blue screen. I don't know.
Oh.
Hey, I guess we're live. Hey, can you guys hear me? I wasn't sure if we were on or not. Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You are in the studio with us.
I'm inviting all the students to hop on here.
We got a big class today. We got a class that's very important to a lot of you. That class is about money. Let's get serious today. I'm going to take my jacket off. Let's get serious. Let's get serious, man. Let's get serious.
You sure you want to take your coat off? It's a little...
It is a little cold in here today, which I'm okay with cold, but I was freezing earlier. Hey, listen, come on board, join us. We are live in the studio with our real estate investing talk show, so I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're joining us. And if you're trying to figure out what we're doing today, we're on week 15 of the 24-week challenge. So what does that mean to you? That means that you've been working with us, and you've been coming a long way. You're on 15 weeks into this 24-week challenge. What does that mean? That means that you should be, if you're literally doing everything I've been teaching you over the last 14 weeks, then you absolutely should have already been putting deals together, okay? You should. No questions asked. You should have already been putting deals together. So now the question would be is, well, what if I'm finding something I want and I want to buy them? Well, let's talk about the money, right? Let's talk about the money. Anyways, come on board. That's what the class is today. My name is Zack Childress. I am your real estate coach, and I'm joined today by the lovely Jill. Jill, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Jill. So, Jill.
We've got some people in here. Ian's here, says, what's up?
What's
Manny,
up,
he
Ian?
says, where's the money, Zach? Show us. Bill is on here, says, hey, Zach.
Hey, Bill back. What's happening, Bill?
Christine is here. She says, hello.
Hey,
Steve.
Christine.
Steve, he says, Zach and Jill, even cold in Florida.
Steve, I want to give you a big congratulations, my friend. You've been with me so long, and you've finally started taking the steps into getting the right direction from the right team. I love it, Steve. Congratulations for joining the coaching program. I'm happy. I'm very happy to watch your success and the climb in the direction you're going. I think Bill joined us too.
Yep.
I want to give a big shout out to Bill as well. You know, it means so much to me that you guys choose to work with us in a long-term support. And I'm just excited, man. I'm excited you're here. I hope you guys are all, you know, excited for our new coaching students that are coming on board. It's amazing the people that keep reaching out to us wanting our help. You know, wanting our help versus everybody else's out there. And so that means a lot to me. So for all my coaching students that are watching this, I hope you're in the Facebook group that we've set up. That's a private group for you guys. And you're in there and you're talking to me and you're hearing my messages. I put a good one out on Monday. So I hope you guys listen to that one. I thought that was a good one.
We have some shy people here right now too. We have Meredith on here. She just spoke up.
We're calling people out. David on here from PA.
Ignacio is on here.
Mona, Ignacio, good job. Glad to have all you guys on here today. Ariana.
Carly is here.
Carly is here.
Steve.
Jill, I just have to say, that chair, your blouse, is that how you say it? And that photo...
It all looks
It all looks really good over there. I'm looking at your
picture. It's kind of wintry, right?
It looks very good.
It does. I think it's a great backdrop. I think that the office couldn't have gave you a better present for
your
birthday.
I'm so picky too, and I actually really liked that picture.
I think it's awesome, and the little gates there trying to keep people out of the path that's
right.
less traveled.
As Jill calls that painting there.
For me,
Jill says, and I like it. I'm running with it. I'm always gonna call that picture this. I said, I love the picture. She said, yeah, I thought you would. It's the path less traveled picture, right? And think about that in real estate. Like, are we going down the path less traveled? Of course we are. We're changing not only our financial future, but our children's children legacy, right? And to do that, we have to go down a path less traveled to achieve those results. So I thought it was a perfect picture for this. So I'm running with it.
I like it. I mean, I like that they got the gates there. They're trying to keep us out, but
Trying to keep us out. They can't keep us out.
We're going to run for it.
That's right. Hey, you know what? When I was a kid, somebody always said to me, they said, Zach, you come up to a fence. How do you go through the fence if it's locked?
Climb it.
You go over it, under it, around it, however you need to, right? Here's a good one for you, Jill.
Yeah.
You come up to a apple bush.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to the other side of the apple bush?
I'd eat all the apples while I was climbing the tree. And then I'd jump down.
So you would climb over the apple bush?
Mm-hmm.
Jill, there's no such thing as an apple bush. It's an
said
apple tree.
I was thinking about apples. Talon is here. He says, hi, Zach and Jill and the family. Carly says, well, you got all the coaching students in the house. How we do anything is how we do everything. Manny says, Ian in the house. Ignacio says, hello, Zach and Jill, Carly, and rest of the team.
That's awesome. We got an active bunch in here today.
Great.
And that's good because this is your real estate investing talk show with your host and your real estate coach, Zack Childress. So welcome on, come on board, get things rocking and rolling. Listen, if you're brand new to the show, you've never been here before, you're trying to figure out what we're doing, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to tell me, hey, I'm new on here. Just let me know you're here. One of the things that I pride myself on is trying to get to know everybody that's on here so that you feel like this is a safe, comfortable place for you to come to, learn from, ask questions. Our community here and our Facebook Live shows are great. They push you guys. They communicate with each other. They help each other. So if you're brand new, don't be shy and just let us know you're new. We'll give you a shout out and we'll give you some direction on what we've been doing around here. So also don't forget we have an event coming up in Tampa. I know Manny's coming out to it. I know Ian will be there. It's Tampa the 8th through the 10th. You want to make sure you get registered for this event. It is definitely coming up fast. You can go to freedomfromflipping.com or if you have more questions and you want to know about our silver or our gold tickets, which golds is the way to go, you want to pick up the phone and call 707-247-4248 and talk to one of our advisors about the event in Tampa to get clear on where it is you're going, how you're going to get there, and what you're going to learn once you get to the 3-day event. So, David said, I'll be there. Awesome, David. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Michelle says, Shelly in the house from Salinas. Nice.
Oh, John Grimes is on here with us, too. David Patterson, he says he'll be there. Shelly from Salinas, she says she'll be there.
Awesome.
That's Miss Susan's friend.
Yes. Where's Miss Susan at?
She's probably at home. I've been talking to her. She's going to be actually at the bus tour.
Huh. You're never too old to learn. I love it, Manny. Okay, well, listen, today's topic, let's just talk about this real quick. Oh, and I'm going to give a plug out for the book. Go to Amazon.com. Go there, search for My First Deal Playbook if you haven't gotten a copy of the book. You definitely want to bring that book to the live event. I'm going to do a book signing there. So if you have a book, you don't have it signed yet, get it to the event. When you come to the event, I'll sign your book for you. And if you don't have the book, you need to go on the screen and you need to get it. Amazon.com, My First Deal Playbook. So do that. I have something special to share with you at the end, too, that we're going to be doing Thursday through the weekend, and that's something that's super, super important. So anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. So the topic is finding private money. private, we're going to kind of parlay off of just private and make sure you guys are clear on the different funding sources. But if you have any questions in regards to funding deals, this would be the time and the place to put your questions in so that we can talk about what it is that you're trying to achieve and what it is you're trying to figure out. Or maybe you're working a private investor and you don't know how to structure the deal. Or maybe you have questions about the note and how it's secured. Or maybe you have questions about interest. Or maybe you have questions about the difference between an asset-based lender and a hard money lender. Or maybe you have questions about the relationship with your local-based banks or bridge funding. Whatever the question is, this is about you guys. I'm here to help you share in the success that so many of our students are having. This is just kind of like, getting you over the hurdle, okay? So with that said, just know I want you to ask me any questions that you have. That's important because it's going to be all about money today. You see that? Week 15, finding private money. Not finging, but finding.
So you know what somebody once told me?
What?
That if your circle does not talk about, like your circle of friends does not talk about money,
Yep.
then you should not be associating yourself with
You're in
them.
the wrong circle.
Right.
That's very true. It also goes back to your net worth can be calculated off the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
So think about that. Since me and you've started working together and hanging out, has your net worth grown?
A little bit. A little bit.
See, I have that effect on people.
Well, and and you think about it, my 5 closest people, I mean, we have multiple gym owner who's
Amanda.
worth millions,
Yep.
and you, and then Elena.
Yep, business owner.
And that's like my 3, that's who I talk to every
most.
day.
Yeah, and that's and there's so much truth in that because here's why. How do I say this without offending anybody? Well, I don't guess I can without offending anybody. Some people just don't talk in a manner or an acknowledgement of future growth, right? Some people talk about what they saw in football or baseball or basketball or what, so-and-so down at the grocery line said to it. Some people just talk about that type of stuff, right? Where business people and people, chasing a dream and chasing a passion and a purpose, they're constantly thinking different. They're thinking about their next move. They're thinking about what they can change in themselves and how they can invest in themselves or invest their money. And so that's the conversations that they're not just having with you, but they're also having it with their peers. So when you're associated with them, you're involved in those conversations as well. So.
Right.
So anyways, private money, or let's just call it money. Who likes money in here, right? Oh, man.
Apparently
There we
that
go.
company likes money because they're not.
I like that sound. That's like when I was a kid, that's all I ever wanted was a cash register.
Really?
It was. I asked for it for 3 years for Christmas before
Do
I
you
finally
think
got
that
it.
it constantly had
I don't know
money?
what it was. I just wanted a cash register because I liked the idea of like the bartering goods of life, right? You got to remember, I was a kid that would go to the gas station, take my lunch. Now this goes back how far I invested in myself. I would take my lunch money, and I always walked to school uphill both ways in the snow. You know what I mean? So, but I would take my lunch money, and I would go by the grocery store. Or not the grocery store, the gas station on the way to school. And I would buy bubble gum and lollipops and Tootsie Rolls, as much as I could buy. And I would take them to school and I would sell them.
I did the same thing in 7th grade.
Yeah. I was
Jolly
doing,
Ranchers.
yeah, Jolly Rancher, the whole thing. I think I started around 5th grade, 4th grade or 5th grade I started doing it. But that was when my mother realized very quickly that I was the entrepreneurial spirit. And, but I always wanted a cash register because I was making money.
I always thought that cash registers just had an unlimited amount of money and they came that way.
So, all right, what are some of the questions we're coming in?
Oh, dang it. I just lost my video feed here.
Thomas is catching up. He said, Steve says, how is bridge funding handled?
Same as private money?
Okay, great question. We're going to talk about that. So let me write that down. Steve, thanks for the question, my friend. You know me, I love questions, okay? I'm probably one of the few that actually, I run into questions. I don't run from questions. So, bridge funding. How is it different? We're going to talk about that, okay? So let's just jump in. Pink Floyd, Money. I can't wait to get our hands off my snatch. That's funny. So let's talk about real quick the difference. I want to take you through a little process here. What's the difference of, as we know, is private money? See, sometimes people in the industry, they call even asset and hard money private money. So there's really 3 points I want to clarify. Private, asset, and hard, okay? So let's start with, what private money is, okay? So private money, well, there's different layers, right? I mean, I could go on for hours and hours on this. There's different layers you need to be conscious about, right? So the cheapest money you're ever going to get, believe it or not, is not your own money. Some people believe that. Some people say, oh, well, I'll just use my own money. It's the cheapest. Do you realize how bad that is? You would have to literally pay yourself off of every deal 20 to 30% return on your money for it to even balance out if you were going to go use it in an investment for the type of returns you wanted. So the cheapest money is not your money. It's actually probably the most expensive money to use is your own money. That's why I'm always talking about leverage, right? But you gotta have the stomach, you gotta have the grit, and you gotta have the tenacity and the integrity to say, I'm going to go borrow money and I'm going to do a good job at this and I'm going to do this deal and I'm going to make sure it works and I'm going to pay that money back. See, that's the difference between people who are okay with borrowing money and using credit lines versus those who aren't. They're afraid that they're not going to pay it back. Well, you control that. You control whether you pay that money back or not. Here's the point I want to make clear. I've been borrowing money from private assets and hard money lenders and bridge funders and all in between for 16 years. That's right, 16 years. I'll never forget the other day I go down to the bank and they wanted me to fill out a financial statement. I looked at it and I was like, what? I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? like there was so many questions. Then they're like, well, we need your tax returns. I'm like, okay, well, my tax returns, that's fine, but I own my own business. And they were like, oh, well, then we need the tax returns from your businesses. I'm like, well, I pay myself from one business, but that business owns several other companies that pay into that. Oh, well, then we need the tax returns for all those businesses. I said, are you joking right now? You mean I got to go out and pull in 12 different tax returns and bring them into you from 12 different companies I own? And they're like, well, yeah, that's what this sheet's for. I thought, oh, my word. No wonder you guys get so frustrated when it comes to dealing with banks, right? It's almost easier to get a loan if you didn't have so many companies.
Yeah.
You just go in, fill out one sheet of paper, say, here's what I make, give me a loan. So I say this because the cheapest money is really traditional financing. That is the cheapest money. It is absolutely the cheapest. You're going to get loans between 4 and 6%, no points. It's going to be relationship type lending. Once you do one, you're going to be better off to do several more with them in the long run. It's just the best way to go. But I get it. Some of you can't get it right now. So you have to lean more towards private and the asset and hard money lender basis. So knowing that, let's talk about private money. Let's talk about private money. You want some private money?
Yes.
Here's the thing. Some people get confused because some people out there that are doing hard money loans are calling themselves private lenders, and they're not, okay? So what is a private lender? A private lender is someone that you have a relationship with. It's someone that you know personally. It's someone that maybe your friend knew and introduced you to them. That's a private lender. It is someone that you can establish what's called a prior existing relationship that is not based on running an operation on lending money out, okay? A private lender could be your aunt, it could be your uncle, it could be your friend, it could be a coworker, it could be anybody that you know. And the way private lending works is there are no points. Do you understand? It's just interest. That's all it is. And it's not amortized in most cases. It's just interest only. And they typically run between 6 and 12 months, or if you go into a long-term hold, they can be for the life of the hold until it sells, or they can have a clause in there that says there's a 5-year balloon payment in there to get them out of the deal. Privates have to have a way to get out of the deal. With that said, though, private lenders are going to charge anywhere from 8 to 10% interest in most cases. That's a private lender, 8 to 10%. So if you've got private lenders you pay 8% to, then there you go. You're paying double the amount in which you would be paying traditional banks. The other side of it is, since it's an interest-only payment, then you're only making the payment on what the interest is that is due. So if you have a $100,000 loan at 8% interest, that's $8,000 for the year divided by 12 is $700 and $600 and some change, right? If you had a $100,000 loan with a bank and you were getting what's called, let's say you're getting 5% interest amortized, then your payments are still less. But then once you add taxes and insurance, it goes more. But you still didn't add taxes and insurance over on the interest only with the private. So it's still cheaper to do the bank. But here's my point. You got a question for me?
I do. And this is, I'm sure I'm not the only one that would ask this. This is why and has asked this. But what's the difference between amortized and regular loans?
Yeah, great question. So amortization, as the great Einstein said, it was the lost wonder of the world. And the reason that is because amortization is a process of a loan that has an interest based on a 30-year term. And so that interest is compounded every year. And that's why if you ever look at a mortgage that you get with a bank, listen, long term it's horrible. Because let's say you got a loan for $100,000 and you got an interest rate 5.5-6% interest compounded over, let's say, a 30-year term. You're literally on a $100,000 loan, you'll probably pay back somewhere around $250,000-$270,000, right? Mm-hmm. So let's look at it from an interest only means that, and on the amortized, it's like a shift. So you're let's say if you had a chart and this line was interest, this line was principal balance. The interest is always front end loaded, and about halfway, maybe 2/3 into the loan, the interest starts going down and the principal balance starts going, meaning paid off, right? So you don't really pay off a principal balance in an amortized loan until towards the end. But now on the other hand, let's say you pay $150,000 extra in interest because it's compounded, where if you got an interest only loan, let's just look at that. So that's over a 30-year term, I would walk out owning that house free and clear, okay? That means that, let's say I paid $100,000, but I paid $150,000 in interest. So I paid $250,000 for that property, but I own it free and clear. If I take a $100,000 loan and I times that by 8% interest, that's $8,000 a year. I times that by 30 years, I've paid $240,000 in interest, but I still don't own the house. You understand? Because I'm only paying interest. So the point is even though it's amortized, you own it at the end of 30. Interest only means I'm only paying interest for 30 years and I still owe the balance on the loan. So I'm always going to pay more on the long-term positioning of the private money. So,
thank you, Zach. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's ever asked you that question.
No, you're not the only one that's ever asked me that question. I see old Nate Jurovich is on the call with us here. That's awesome, man. I love that. So anyway, so our point of topic, let's get back. I got sidetracked. Shiny object syndrome. Our point of topic is traditional funding versus private funding versus asset hard money lending funding. So when we deal with private, we go back. It's usually interest, right? It's 8 to 10% interest. There's no points. It's relationship type funding. These are the people you know. The thing you've got to understand is people say, well, man, I want private funding. I want private funding. Well, then you got to ask for it. You got to literally get out there and start asking for it. You can't assume that somebody's going to look at you and you're going to have a tag on your shirt that says, I need money. Unless you bought a t-shirt that said that. That'd be pretty cool. I need money for real estate. Oh, man, that'd be a good shirt.
That would be a good shirt.
Just walk around with it on you.
Yep.
I need money for real estate. I like that.
I'll add that one to my list.
Look at me. I'm getting all kinds of marketing ideas talking to you guys. So I would tell you to get you a t-shirt It says, I need money for real estate written on it. And walk around all the time with it on.
Put your phone number and your URL.
Yeah, put your phone number and your website on there, right? Good job, Joe. So you got to get out and start talking to everybody. You got to literally get on the phone and at Thanksgiving, at functions, you got to tell everybody what you do. You got to tell them, look, I'm in real estate. And I work with people that, sometimes have extra money that's not making them any interest. And I help them, take that money and I place it in real estate deals that I'm involved in. And I can pay anywhere from 8 to 10% return. And the properties are secured by real estate. So if all else goes wrong, they have a property they can sell and get their money back out of it. And then I would turn around and say, what are you making on your money that's sitting in the bank? Oh, well, maybe 1%. Okay, great. How would you like to make 8? Well, I'd love that. Well, great. Let's talk. Right? You just got to have that conversation all the time. All the time. You would be surprised who you'll run into. Steve brought up, bridge funding. Bridge funding is also known as gap funding. It's short amount of money to get you over a hurdle. And you might even know people that only have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Well, yeah, in some markets you can buy a whole house for that. But in other markets, that's a bridge fund. That's a bridge. That's that's the fund that is going to allow you to get to, that next stage of the deal. And so you want to keep those in your database as well. So it's really about relationships. It's really about talking to them, communicating with them, sharing information with them, telling them what you do, getting them on board. And here's the biggest thing I can tell you. People always say, but what about the legal aspect of funding? What about the legal aspect of compliance? What about the legal paperwork? Those are all great questions. I know them, but I let the attorney do it. That's as simple as it gets. I might draw up a promissory note that says, Landmark Investments agrees to pay Rob Stanfield $100,000 back from a loan at an 8% interest rate with payments per quarter or month of X, Y, and Z. And, this is my promissory note. All I do then is I sign it. Rob would sign it in this case. We would send it into the attorney, and the attorney does everything from there. The attorney draws up the note. The attorney draws up the mortgage. The attorney files everything so that I don't have to worry about compliance. That's what they do. That's what they get paid for. Let them do it. You don't need to do it. And that's how private lenders are taken care of.
Is not the biggest and one of the best lessons that you have to teach? Everybody else has an expertise, and let them look after their job.
Let me tell you, when it comes, absolutely. Like I know enough to make sure I know I'm going in the right direction, but at the end of the day, I'm going to let the experts do what they do best. That's what I'm going to do. Here's the other reason. I ain't got time for it, man.
Oh, Rob said
I ain't got time.
Rob said that sounds good on the 8%, so let's do it.
So that's private money. So the question that Steve had was the bridge funding. So let's talk about bridge funding, because that's a great segue into the other two. So bridge funding, let's say you're going and you're getting private funding, and your private says to you, well, look, Zach, I'll do the deal. I know you need $100,000 for the purchase and you need $40,000 for the remodel, but I'm only willing to give you $120,000. Well, I have a gap there, right? So bridge funding is also known as gap funding. So I have a gap there, and I got to build a bridge over that gap so that I can do the deal. To execute that deal, I got to find $20,000 more. So this is where bridge or gap funding comes in. It's short term, and usually it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months. But the beauty of gap and bridge funding is they know their position. So for instance, a private investor, if they're going to loan you money, they're going to typically, in most cases, if they're funding a lot of the deal, they're going to want first lien position. And first lien position is important to know, because here's why. If a property gets foreclosed on, they start going from the top and working their way down of paying off the liens or debtors when it comes to the sale of that property. So who gets paid off first? Obviously the IRS, right? Government, IRS, tax liens, things like that, they get taken care of. The next one is first lien position. First lien position is typically the lender that loaned the most money. And then if there's anything left, they they pay off the second and the third and the fourth lien positions or any, mechanical liens or anything like that. Usually most of them get wiped out anyways. So a private gets first. Where gap or bridge funding, they know their position. So they're willing to take a second position, or in some cases, very rare, they'll take a third position. Or they'll buy out the second position to secure them in a second position and then add so let's say you had a second that was of 10,000, but you needed 20,000. Well, they would come in, buy out the second, and then have a $30,000 lien, but they would be in second position to control that. So
Steve also has another question there. He says, kind of on topic, what is your thoughts on paying off the long-term loans early or let it go to full term? Do you want to own them free and clear?
Yeah, I do, Steve. I do want to own them free and clear, but not right now. Look, I'm in wealth mode right now, right? I'm still building wealth. 16 years in this business, and I'm building wealth all the time. And here's why. Because markets run in cycles, and wealth runs in cycles when you're not stable. That didn't come out right. I promise you I'm very stable.
Well, everybody has a stabilization period, though, when they first purchase rentals.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I mean just life being stable, right? And so, for instance, I was building wealth very successfully in the beginning. And then obviously the market took a shift and we lost some of it, but then we plugged back in with some strategies that most people weren't doing, and then we started rebuilding it again. So we went up, we came down, then we caught that, we started rising back up. We were riding high when most people were closing their doors and shutting their businesses up. We had figured it out very quickly. One of the reasons that I'm still so successful today is because I've learned over the years through trial and error how to move through markets, whether it's a good market, a bad market, a hot market, a cold market. I know from the years of doing this what strategies you got to move with. You got to move and change and alter, And then as you build your mind and you build your business and you got more money, you're able to do even more market shifting. For instance, when you're in the hot market like we're in now, if you got the capability, you should be building. You should be building apartments, building subdivisions. You should be building. Obviously, most people don't have the ability to do that, right? Back when the first market hit in 2006 and 7 and 8, I didn't have the ability to do that back then. But the guys that made all the money back then, well, that's what they were doing. I was building up to get to the point. Now we're back in a hot market. I'm in the middle of, several land development deals right now. One of them is almost a 500-unit apartment building. Another one's a 28-unit townhouse community. Why? Because that's the time we're in. But if you can't build, you got to be making capital right now. So that's wholesaling and fix and flips, and then buy and hold along the way. But when markets take a dive, they take a crash, that's when you want to be positioned to buy everything you can and leverage as much as you can. Steve? Is it Steve or Manny? Steve. Leverage as much as you can. So back to your question, do I want to own them free and clear? Yeah, I do. Not right now. Look, I'm leveraging lenders on all my investments so that I get the highest rate of cash on cash return I can get, because my model is I want to double my money as much as I can, as fast as I can. And I can't do that if I'm putting it all into one deal. Right. I can't do it. So I'm doubling. I'm growing money right now. I'm putting little seeds out and I'm watering them. I'm putting some, what's that, Nutri-Green on them, or I don't know what it's called. Putting some flax seed out there, whatever you put on them things. And I'm making that money grow. And then, whenever I decide I think I want to retire.
You're buttering your chia pet seeds.
I'm buttering my chia pet seeds. That's right. When am I going to retire? That's a good. I have no idea. I love what I do. I love real estate. I love business. I love my team. For once in my life, I've got a great partner that's helping, build this thing. And I love everything I do. I feel really blessed. So why would I walk away from all that, right? So I don't know. I will retire the day it's not fun anymore. That's when I'll retire. When I'm not having fun with it anymore. Because here's why. I don't mind working 12, 14, 16-hour days. I really don't. I'll get up in the morning at 5:36, get the kids to school, start working at 7, and I'll work until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So how many hours is that? 7 to 7 is 12.
You're sleeping for 6, so you're
16, 18-hour days. They don't faze me. They don't faze me. I can work months at a time. It don't faze me because I love what I do. So when that day comes, yes, then I'll start paying everything off, but not right now. And here's the other thing. When you get to the point that you want to pay everything off, you got to have at least a 3-year exit strategy at that point so that you can start doing deals to take the earnings from those deals and the cash flow you're not using and then reinvest all that money right back into the debt on the portfolio you've built to get it free and clear. So, all right, so we talked about private, we talked about traditional, we talked about bridge and gap. Any other questions?
No, Manny, he says, in real estate, you never retire. Meredith and Michelle said, Miracle Grow.
That's what I was trying to think of, Miracle Grow. I'm going to call it Zack Grow. You guys need to sprinkle a little Zack Grow on your business.
You know what we could do, and a great marketing thing that would keep everybody growing?
What?
And whenever anybody comes into a coaching program or something, they get a chia-petted Zack, and you have hair.
No. No. You got, what's Manny say? You got to save for a rainy day? Is that what that says?
Yeah. And Angel just popped in here. We hadn't seen him now for a minute. He's a little bit late.
Welcome to the show, Angel. And I think it was Manny. Let's see here. Manny. Was it Manny? Manny. Yeah. Yes, Manny. Private money is much more flexible. 100% is much more flexible. So, all right. So let's talk about this. We still got another 15, 20 minutes here together. Let's talk about the difference between asset-based and hard money. Okay. What's the difference? There is no difference, guys. They're the exact same funding sources. It's just over the years, hard money kind of got a bad rap, and so they changed it over the last year or two into asset-based lenders. They just basically didn't like being labeled as a hard money lender, right? You made them think of the mafia days, right? Because when people would say, oh, you going to borrow from them hard money lenders, they'll come out and bust your kneecaps. So now they're really referred to as asset-based lenders, okay? And to get clear with you on this, a true asset-based lender is just what it says it is. It lends based on asset, not you personally. So it doesn't really care if you have a credit score. It doesn't really care if you have a job. They don't care. You know what they care is does your deal fit their parameter of risk management, and they'll fund the deal. And most of them will fund anywhere from 65, in some cases, 75% of the ARV after repaired value. So this is great for you that are watching this that are brand new, or you're trying to figure out how all this business works, is that when you don't go to traditional banks, you go to privates, you go to bridges, and you go to asset-based lenders, also known as hard money lenders, and they only look at the deal. So it's a deal submission. They like the deal. Your purchase price, so here's the thing. The purchase price has to meet, and the remodel together has to meet their parameters, meaning it has to be below their expectation of ARV after repaired value. But that's the beauty of this whole thing, okay? That's the whole beauty of this, is that they don't care about you. They only care about the deal. So this is how you get them to fund you when you don't have a job and you don't have any other. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Yeah, but most of them want some skin in the game. That's right. They do. They do. So we even know lenders that'll go up to 85% of purchase price, but they'll fund all your construction. So let's say you're buying the house at $100,000 and you got $30,000 in construction. They're going to give you $85,000 plus they'll give you the $30,000 in draws. And the beauty of it is they'll charge you between 8 and 10%, maybe 1 point, okay? But let me be very clear. If you're talking to somebody that says they're an asset-based lender and they're hitting you up with, 5 points and 16% interest, there's plenty more out there that are much cheaper. Don't use them, guys. Don't use them. They're over priced. Now, look, 3-4 years ago, yeah, they were all extremely high because there wasn't as much competition. Now, in today's market, man, lenders are popping up everywhere. There's more asset-based lenders popping up in today's market than I've ever seen. Even back in 07 and 08, we didn't see this many of these lenders out there. I mean, they are literally coming in like a mad storm. Jill.
Yes.
The other thing I heard the other day or read in the news was that subprime loans are coming back. That is a disaster. So let me help you guys get a clear vision of this, okay? If subprime loans are coming back out, guess what? You got maybe a year and a half, 2 years before you can get in and out of this, because those subprime loans work on what's called a 3-year adjustable in most cases, because that's how they get the cheapest payment for the person who wants to buy the big house but don't have the income. So they put them on a subprime loan on an adjustable rate arm, a 3-1, which means in 3 years, guess what? All those payments are going to go up. We're going to see another crisis happen again. People are going to lose their properties, and we're going to be right back in a hot spot to buy houses again. I'm ready. I'm ready. Bring it on. So, listen, here's my point, though. You got to know how to move in the markets, right? You got to see the markets coming. You got to prepare for those and position yourself correctly. This is why it's important to get lenders now so you can start making the money now, because let me tell you something. When that shift happens, prices are going to drop, and you're going to wish that you would have built your money up to start buying rental properties for dirt cheap. Dirt cheap. You're going to be able to go out and buy rental houses for $20,000 that rent for $750, $800 a month. You're going to be able to go out and buy fourplexes again for $100,000 that brings in $1,500 to $2,000 a month. That's the reality. That's the reality. It's all about positioning, okay? We're in a great market right now, but listen, live in the market now, but prepare for the market that's coming. Are you with me on that? Live in the market now, but prepare for the market that's coming. That's how I've managed to be so successful as a real estate investor and in business. I appreciate what we're in now, but I'm always looking 2, 3, 4 years down the road, and where am I going? Where am I going? What's going to happen? What are the indicators? So you got to be clear on that. Asset-based lenders. Let's talk about that real quick again. So these guys are out there. You want to build relationships with them. You want to be on the phone with as many of them as you can get. Some of them will do certain states. Some of them won't do certain states because your state has, a long period for foreclosure time. Your state may have a long period for a redemption period. So some of these lenders say, look, we don't want to deal with that, so we just don't lend in that state. But you want to get out there and dig around and look at them. So, all right, what other questions you guys got for me today?
So with all this that you've taught us today about money, would you go to an asset-based lender first or a bank first?
Here's, that's obviously a personal, personal scenario, right?
Well, depending on.
Freeze? Are you on? You see me?
I can see you.
Am I moving on your screen?
Yeah, you're moving.
Okay, good. I'm froze with this really weird look on my face. Here's what I'm telling you. If you've got a credit score of 620 or higher, you should definitely be talking to the banks. And you got 2 years of tax returns. If you don't have 2 years of tax returns and you don't have a credit score of 620 or higher, you should still go down to the banks and just figure out what it is that they want you to do to be able to do business with them, but still go out and build asset-based lenders. So to answer your question, no matter where you are, you should still talk to banks.
So Scott Sweet, he says, is there any property that you do pay off until you're ready to stop?
Is there any property that you pay off?
I think what he means is like
you're ready to stop?
I think what he means is there any type of properties that you should pay off before you're ready to retire?
No. I mean, look, there's 1,001 theories out there on how to build wealth in real estate.
As long as they pay for themselves, right?
I'm not about paying them off until I'm ready to walk away. And even then I'm going to have a 3 to 5 year exit strategy before I don't just say, hey, I'm done and then quit, right? I'm a very methodical person. I pre-step things. I think them out. I look at all the risk. I look at, what if A and B don't work together? What's C and D going to do? So I have no interest to pay anything off until I have my portfolio is large enough that when I walk away and sell all the companies or get bought out or whatever with the businesses, that I can walk and still make $1 million a year just passively. When that happens, then I know once I start paying everything off, it's just going to go up, right? And so, and even though, those numbers are realistic numbers in my world, I'm just not ready to walk right now. So I may wait till I'm making $5-6 million a year passively and then walk. But it's really a personal thing. Like, do you need $6 million a year to retire? No, you don't. I mean, if you could retire with $150,000 a year coming in passively, you could live really good. I mean, you really could. Get a little side job, maybe doing something a couple of days a week so you stay active. Anyways, my point is I don't want to pay anything off right now. So.
Right. Noah says, how would you go about finding private money with no investor connections and no experience? Where's the best place to start aside from wholesaling?
I just told you, Noah. You weren't on the call earlier, were you? Noah, your private investors come from the people you already know. It doesn't come from everybody else. It comes from the people you know. That's the first level or ring. That's the first ring that you have to go after is all the people that you already know, and start that relationship with them. Start working with them. Start getting, them aware of what you do and that how you're in real estate and how you can show them how they can make a higher interest by working with you. That's the first ring. The second ring is your network. The second ring. So the first ring is your sphere. It's your friends, family. It's like multi-level marketing. Start with your friends and family, right? That's your first ring. The second ring is your network. That's, all the networking events you go to. If you don't, you should. All the business building events you go to, all the meetup groups that you go to, all the RIA members meetings that you go to, seminars that you go to. That's your network. That's your business network. Then you go there. The third ring is your marketing. So you start with the first ring, you move to the second ring, and then you go into marketing, and then that's when you start, either sending out direct mail to high net worth individuals, running, ad campaigns. You got to be a little more careful about that. You're crossing into some, regulatory acts that you just got to be cautious about. So.
Meredith says, when an asset lender says they loan based on the deal, but they ask you for your life history, they make it difficult. So I guess she's a little bit frustrated with an asset-based lender there.
Wait a minute, what is it? What is an asset-based lender says the loan based on the deal, but they ask for your life history. They make it difficult. Then you got to be. So here's the thing. Let me explain something to you. Asset-based lenders don't have to fall under the same regulatory acts as a banking institution, right? A traditional bank, a big bucks bank. They don't have to follow the same guidelines. And what I mean by that is that's because they're loaning money to investors, right? So it's really weird. Like, there's so much more regulations when you're loaning money to individuals than there are investors, because they assume investors are supposed to be smart. And I can tell you some of the best deals I ever bought were from investors that were not very smart. I love the dumb investors. I love the investors that watch these TV shows and they think they're going to go out and make a living doing this business, and they run out here and they buy their first house. They get no help, no coaching, and they realize they basically just screwed themselves, and now they got to get out with a huge loss, and here I am to buy it from them. So I love those deals. But asset-based lenders, typically, some of the bigger ones, they want to do what's called a profile file on you. So they may ask you for a bunch of stuff up front to build a file on you, but typically that's the only time they ever do it, just to get an initial file on you. Unlike traditional banks, you got to fill out the financial disclosure statements, all the doc statements, all the proof, the tax returns. You got to do it every time. So I need another Andrew here. House for 12. What?
For $12, I'm not sure. Meredith says, Jill wins the bus tour. I will reach out to you. Michelle says, yay, your birthday present is behind Jill. It looks great right there.
I know. You see that? It does look great. We were talking about that. That is the picture the office got me. I mean, we know who picked it out there, don't we? I mean,
I have no idea who picked it out.
I'm sure people in here, when they think get Zack a gift, they probably like, oh. Same thing my dad does. Well, I just give you money. How do you get somebody that's got everything? I'm like, well, I don't want your money. Like, make me something. You know what? That's something I've always said. Like, I cherish the gifts from my kids probably more than anything because there's sentimental value to it. You know what I mean? Like a picture with a carving on it, just something that you can't buy, right? Like that's what I like more than anything. But anyways, yes. So that painting is called The Path Less Traveled. Jill named that painting. And I like it. I like it because we are all in a life chasing the path less traveled. So
We could also even call it the gates that don't open for everybody.
Or the first obstacle you run into, most people are going to run away.
Right?
So
I just love it. That it just has so many meanings that it could be. But Donald says you need to get your income to a debt ratio of under 50%. I think he's talking about
traditional lending, and it's sometimes you even got to get it lower than that. So that's traditional lending, though.
Manny asks about your back.
My back is fabulous. My tailbone still hurts. I got a real pain in the you-know-what going on, right? And it only really hurts if I've been sitting a long time. Maybe you saw me squinting my face over here. So listen to this, guys. Hey, listen, I'll field some more questions. I'm open for that. I got Ava's teacher messaging me right now. Oh, that can't be good.
I also have another question. How about joint venture partnerships with private lenders?
Say it again.
How about joint venture partnerships with private lenders?
Yeah, that's how I started. So, guys, when I first started out with private money, this is going to blow some of you away how far I've come, right? Like, I was just sharing this story the other day. The first person I ever coached, I coached them for 6 months, and I charged them $1,200. I think about how cheap I gave myself away for.
I will buy you for 5 years.
$1,200 is what I used to charge for 6 months of me. Now that was 12, 13, 14 years ago. But yeah, it's amazing how things change. But same thing happened in my lending business. So I was finding people that saw a young, hungry, aggressive young guy that was going to make this work no matter what. And they had the money, and they grabbed me and they were like, yeah, we'll loan you money on deals. But it was a 70-30 split. 70% of all the profits went back to the private and 30% came to me. When they told me that, what do you think I said, Joe?
30% went to the privates and the rest came to you?
70% went to the privates and 30% went to me.
Well, I would have taken it if you weren't making
good
anything.
Good answer, Jill. That's what hanging out with smart people do for you.
Yes.
I said, I'll take it. Here's why. Because I couldn't do it without it. You understand? I didn't care. Like some people complain over a 12% interest rate. But then you say, well, then you go do the deal. And they go, well, I don't have any money. Then what in the world are you complaining about? Like, be happy, be thankful. You got somebody that's willing to fund you and do a deal. I don't care if you make 5 on that deal or if you make 10 on that deal. You now have somebody willing to fund you to do deals. So, yeah, I used to give up 70% of all my profits to my private investor partnerships that we used to do. It was called an equity split partnership. Or you could also refer to it as a JV split partnership. And it was a 70-30 split. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Let's see, make 0%
right.
or 30%.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a 3-day seminar and we start talking about money and somebody will come up to me every time and go, well, do you believe some of these people are charging 12 and 15% interest? And I'm like,
yep.
Okay, well, if you have the money, don't use it. Well, I don't have the money. Then why are you complaining? Like, literally, why are you, like, we live in a capitalist world, right? They can charge what they want for it. That's the beauty of our country, right? We get to go out and make money on money. Why would you want to criticize someone for going out, building a business, making money, providing a service, providing, useful houses that can be remodeled and put homes back in, or any business? They're hiring people, they're paying taxes. They're a contributor to society, and you want to complain because they charge interest on their money. Like, so then my very next question that I always ask is this. Hey, how long have you been trying to do this business? Oh, I've been trying to do this for like 3 or 4 years. Well, there's your problem. That's your problem, man. You will never get this business to work for you because you can't overcome the idea that somebody else has figured something out that you haven't, and they're going to charge you for it. Let me tell you something. I don't care how much I pay on interest. I really don't. Listen, if it all went away, if all mine went away, everything goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like being stable. I kind of got off subject on that. Like I built wealth, it went down there, and then I rebuilt it back up. But then I went through a divorce. So you lose half your wealth, or actually more than half your wealth if you really want to calculate it all up. And then you got to rebuild again, right? And so if I was to lose it all, and literally I was living in my car again, you understand I wouldn't care what I paid? I wouldn't care 1 cent. I would run the numbers. I would add the cost of those fees from that lender in there. And if I still made money, I'd run on that deal every day of the week. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't try to negotiate. I would just get the deal going so that I could prove that I can perform. And then I'm going to come back. And guess what I'm going to do, Jill?
You're going to be the one that's charging 70% on your money?
I'm going to come back and renegotiate after I prove that I can perform. You guys some of you haven't even proved it yet, and you want to complain about what somebody else will charge. It's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. So
it's very traditional thinking too, because
it's consumer-based thinking.
Yeah, that debt is bad.
Yeah, it's consumer-based thinking. It's not entrepreneurial or investor-based thinking.
Yep.
So
Keisha says, "Thanks, Zach. You're always a great help." Manny says, "Best things in life is using other people's money."
Amen, Manny.
Very true.
Amen. Hey, guys, listen up. I've got a very special announcement. I don't have the link for it. I wish I did.
I do.
The masterclass?
Yeah.
You have a registration link?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap!
DC just sent it to me.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh, snap. Hey, listen, I'm going to put a link into this Facebook chat. We're going to pin it for you. You need to register. I have a master class coming up Thursday. It's going to be Thursday night sometime. I don't know if it's going to be 7:30 or something like that. It should be like 7 or 7:30, one of the two. It's live. It's going to be live in the studio for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'm going to go through an entire breakdown of what 6 steps that we've created a formula from that's allowed people to do deals literally within 6 months or within 30 days. It's a 6-step process that I'm going to be breaking down, and I want you on this class. I'm going to be sharing my history, where I came from, other people's success that's been following this 6-step process, how you can follow this 6-step process. I'm going to be doing an entire masterclass on this. And you stay till the end, I'm going to give you a special report called The 16 Mistakes Most Common Investors Make. And who knows, you might get invited for my after the master class. I'm going to be hosting a 2-week period of master classes based on those 6 topics. So I'd love to have you on here. I'd love for you to get registered. There's the link right there, guys. It's already on there. event.com register. Go there, register for that. Get on that master class. You will not be disappointed on what we're going to be uncovering on this masterclass, okay? 6-step secret formula to getting you from here to here in the fastest time possible. So, anyways, this is Zack Childress. I'm glad you're with me today. I hope you learned something today. Remember, share this message. If you think this is powerful and it helped you in any way, share it with someone else. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, because tomorrow we have our Dig Deeper show, and we have Brian Ellis, right?
Yep.
Listen, you don't want to miss this guy. He's all about self-directed. What is self-directed IRAs? How do you use self-directed IRAs? What's the best custodials? How do you use it for investments? What the things you got to look out for? You don't want to miss the Dig Deeper show tomorrow. I'm bringing an expert on self-directed IRAs. So don't miss the show tomorrow, okay? Anyways, this is Zach, and this is the Jillinator. That doesn't sound good. This is the lovely Jill, and this is the Zackinator. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be good.